The Dragon Kingdom. Missing Child Search Chronicle III. As much as I try to understand, the only conclusion I can come to is that Mr. Natsuki is cursed. Cursed? You mean sorcery. How terrible, how could that happen to Subaru? Oh no, I mean because of his surroundings. Ah, what a puzzling person he is. Otto sighed as he put his hand to his forehead, causing Emilia to tilt her head. In the dining room of the Roswell estate, a room too spacious for the few people present, Emilia searched inside her mind eagerly, hoping to find a good idea, while a slight frown appeared on her face. 2 days after coming back from the Pleiades watchtower, Emilia's group had returned Otto and Garfield, who were convalescing in the Watergate City Pristella, to the Roswell estate, thus allowing the faction to assemble like they did before. However, the one who was the subject of this conversation was nowhere to be seen. You're worried about Subaru too, aren't you, Otto? Actually, I am more worried about what Mr. Natsuki may do to those around him than about his situation. Mr. Natsuki can probably find a way to fix his own situation anyway, so ouch. Hey, Mr. Otto, that's not a very nice thing to say. When Petra heard Otto's honest response to Emilia, she delivered a sharp blow from her palm onto his shoulder, making him cry out. The charming girl of rosy cheeks, clad in a servant uniform, pouted with unease and irritation. We're all worried about Mr. Subaru, including me and Lady Emilia. We thought everything was going to be fine after you came back, Mr. Otto. Your expectations of me are way too high. Look, I will admit I should have worded that differently. Too late. Receiving Petra's scolding, Otto held his head as he apologized. Despite that, Petra crossed her arms and turned her face away, keeping her anger visible. Q-haha, Otto bro, you're always getting destroyed by Petra's glare. You cannot judge me, Garfield. As if anyone here really stood a chance against Petra. With a click of his fangs, Garfield teased Otto as he cowered. Garfield, who had come back from the Watergate City along with Otto, laughed cheerfully at his adoptive brother's dispiritedness, and then he broached a new subject. Man, I've read Thaw letter, but I just can't believe it. Like whatcha mean the divine dragon is at Thaw top of Thaw tower. Thaw, sage. Shala ain't what you expected, and even Thaw Sin Archbishop of Gluttony was there. And to top it off, Subaru and Rem were engulfed by shadows and blown far away, I suppose. There were enough unexpected things to make my head explode. In fact, Beatrice complimented Garfield's words with a disheartened expression. Emilia sensed tiredness and anxiety from her profile, so she came closer to the girl's small shoulders. It's been a while since we lost track of Subaru, but will your body be fine at least, Beatrice? I'm currently saving energy, so it won't be a huge problem for now, I suppose. However, Betty's heart requires its subarulin dose, in fact. What even is a subarulin? That's the tranquilizer Betty's heart receives when Subaru is around, I suppose. What has Mr. Natsuki done to you? Beatrice answered, her countenance sad, and Otto covered his face with his palm. Emilia felt really concerned about Beatrice's despondent look. She wished to be able to get that subarulin for her, but that would be difficult without Subaru present. I want to see Beatrice happy again soon, but I'm also worried about Subaru himself. Beatrice isn't the only one who will be in danger if they're not together. Captain's got a broken gait, ain't he? The whole Agrisley going downhill, things spreadin' to us, it ain't even funny. I hope Mr. Subaru is all right. Garfield scratched his head. Petra cast her eyes down, both anxious about Subaru's safety. I hope so too, said Emilia with a nod, watching the youngest ones fret. They were concerned about Subaru's physical condition, but as Otto said, Subaru was quite stubborn, so it was unlikely that he would immediately stumble upon serious trouble, even in the Empire. Beatrice, as Subaru's contractor, could guarantee that too. The problem was Subaru's peculiar constitution as a spirit user. Like Garfield said, Mr. Natsuki's gate is broken, so he cannot eject the mana created by his odd. Thus, he depends on Beatrice to do so. Yes, in fact, Betty can only receive mana from the object of her contract, which means Subaru and I are a match made in heaven. He's my fave partner, I suppose. But now you're all shaky because you can't be together, or could it be that Subaru is in bad condition too? That was one of the perils that Subaru was certain to encounter, and a cause for concern. They were confident that, Whether he was in a cruel empire or not, Subaru had what it took to survive. Nevertheless, his limitations as a spirit user were a major issue, and Emilia, being one herself, was well aware of it. Actually, I have rarely ever thought of Mr. Natsuki and Beatrice possibly being apart, so what would happen in that case? First, Betty'd be extinguished, in fact. No, don't disappear, Beatrice, please. GRRR. When Beatrice replied to Otto's question, Petra clung to her and squeezed her with teary eyes, making her growl. Emilia found that intense affection lovely. I think it's likely to turn into a release period, just like Puck's. However, Subaru's mana amount is so small compared to Puck's. So the damage would be small-scale. Does that mean Mr. Natsuki will explode or something? Otto bro, Petra's jiven ya thaw glare again. Sorry. Condemned by Petra's glare for his negative assumption, Otto apologized again, repeatedly. Otto's conjecture was not completely mistaken, though. Still, it was not like Subaru's body would suddenly blow up into pieces and scatter everywhere. It's actually not impossible for something similar to happen in the end, I suppose. That is what I get for trying to joke a little. The first phenomenon to occur will be something like mana poisoning, in fact. That happens when one is constantly accumulating more mana than they can handle, I suppose. After that, his body will reach an abnormal condition and become unable to move, and finally, what lies beyond his broken gate will be left exposed, in fact. Beyond his gate? The odd. In other words, the soul, I suppose. Everyone turned to look at each other after hearing Beatrice's straightforward explanation. The odd, soul, or whatever one might call it, was undoubtedly recognized as a very important thing. No one wanted to have it exposed, nor to lose the ability to move. Even Emilia understood how dangerous the situation was. We have to go get Subaru as soon as possible, then. Emilia pressed her lips tightly and clenched her fist as she made up her mind. Subaru was far away, in a foreign land, all alone. No, he was with Rem. Ram had already told them about a certain possible problem, but for now it was safe to assume that Subaru and Rem were together. To travel while carrying the sleeping Rem was no ordinary task. Going to find Subaru was more realistic than expecting him to return to Lugunica by himself. Besides, Emilia yearned for one more second of seeing Subaru's face, of hearing his voice. Ever since Subaru had disappeared from the Pleiades watchtower, a confusing disquiet had seized Emilia's heart and never let go. I'm with Lady Emilia on this, but how are we gonna do that? UHIT looks so hard. Valatia made the security of its borders stricter a while ago, so we can't go in just like that. Lady Anastasia, who came to the mansion, seems to be endeavoring to help too. Emilia kept growing impatient, but the circumstances did not show her any mercy. As she told Garfield, crossing the border between the Kingdom of Lugunica and the Empire of Valatia was currently forbidden, and therefore one could not enter or exit so easily. Anastasia, who had returned from the Pleiades watchtower with them, was apparently trying to use the Hoshin Company's contacts and find a way to enter the Empire. But in that case, we'll have to go through Kararagi to arrive in the Empire, and that'll take even more time than heading there directly. I see. That is quite problematic. Chthah Captain's probably in danger, and I can't even use my claws or fangs to help. This shit ain't funny at all, damn it. The way Garfield clicked his tongue proved that everybody was, ironically, sharing this dilemma. They had reached a complete standstill, with no means to go to the Empire and confirm if Subaru and Rem were safe after being sent there. Bitter silence spread gradually within the vast dining room. No matter how much thought they put into it, they could not come with a breakthrough plan at this tough moment. If a problem could be solved by pure brawn, Emilia would tackle it boldly. Yet the moment she had to use her brain, she was completely out of options. I'm sure Subaru would have already come up with something if he was here. With no means to help the aforementioned Subaru in sight, she was close to giving up. However, just as Emilia started to despair, "Mr. Otto, did you get an idea?" asked Petra, staring fixedly at Otto's face. In response to the young girl's inquiry, Otto shook his head sideways. Well, it is not that great of an idea, and I do not believe it will fulfill your expectations either. But anyway, if relying on Lady Anastasia's Hoshin Company is currently our best bet, how about we try something venturous? Venturous. What do you mean? We'll do anything to get Subaru back, so stop with the big words and tell us already, in fact. See, calm down. Let me explain it then. Feeling the pressure from Emilia and Beatrice, Otto put his hands out, flustered. Then Otto looked at the girls who restrained him and continued. Listen closely. I do think relying on the Hoshin company is one of our most convenient choices. However, like Lady Emilia said, it will take too much time to arrive in Valencia that way. Yes, even if we use a trade route, it might take around a month. Nearly 2 weeks had already passed since Subaru's disappearance. Naturally, they could not help but hesitate to opt for a method that would add more days to that total. Gotta say it, a whole nother month's a huge no for us, sorry. I know. Of course, it would be ideal to cross the border directly from Lugunica to Valencia. Way too ideal, I suppose. If we're being idealistic, then I might as well suggest connecting Betty's door crossing to the Empire and appearing in front of Subaru right now, in fact. You can do that. I'd have done it long ago if I could, I suppose. Beatrice stamped her foot on the ground, and Emilia hung her head, disillusioned. Emilia was regretting thinking that Beatrice could save them, and becoming excited without thinking twice. Even though Beatrice had done nothing wrong, Emilia made her feel guilty. After this interaction between Emilia and Beatrice, Otto gave a small sigh. Well, it is not impossible to turn those ideas into more than a mere fantasy. Really? Yes. The circumstances are a little complicated, though. When she heard Otto's unexpected claim, Emilia's eyes blinked expectantly. Emilia was not the only one surprised, for Beatrice, Garfield, and Petra were too. Especially Petra, who put her hand on her mouth and spoke. And here I was thinking Mr. Otto wouldn't be of much help. I was trying my very best to match all of your expectations, you know. Sorry, but that was impressive coming from you, Mr. Otto. I cannot be glad to hear that, knowing it has a hidden meaning. Hearing Petra praise him, her expression going from surprised to respectful, Otto smiled awkwardly. Emilia and Garfield tilted their heads and looked at each other. Hey, what's wrong, Otto? You don't look very happy. Yeah, Otto bro, you gotta be prouder. And now tell us what's the deal. How are we gonna go straight from Lugunica into Valencia? Through Pictat. Otto's short reply was like a surprise attack, as if he was trying to generate more questions. Huh? Emilia asked, not having caught well what he said. In response, Otto's brow furrowed with visible discomfort. Pictat, a city located south of Lugunica, also known as the Commercial City if we go there, we might finally find a way to enter Valencia. Pictat. When Otto added that explanation, Emilia uttered the city's name again. The Commercial City Pictat took first place when ranking the 5 biggest cities in the Kingdom of Lugunica, excluding the capital. Like the Watergate City Pristella and the Industrial City Costul, which was close to the Roswell estate, it was considered one of the 5 major cities. Therefore, it was not strange for Emilia, a royal selection candidate, to know its name. However, the cause of Emilia's surprise was not the name. If I remember right, Pictat is also your hometown, right, Otto? Oh, you remembered. Yes, that is true. Pictat is my hometown, and the Suin Company, my home, is there. So, Otto bro, you mean your family are expert smugglers? Are you trying to insult me? Otto snapped powerfully against Garfield's comment. Ignoring the banter between those two, Emilia engrossed herself in the hope that she had just seen a rise. The city of Pictat, location of Otto's home, was literally beside the border with the Empire of Valencia. Therefore, if they were to find a way to cross the border from the commercial city, they would have the shortest path to Subaru's whereabouts. Let's go to Pictat, everyone. We have to tell Anastasia and Julius too. Everyone, wait, Lady Emilia. Emilia clenched her fist tightly and prepared to seize the light before her eyes. But when Otto heard Emilia's declaration, he put his hands up with a nervous expression. Lady Emilia, do you intend to go to Valencia personally? I cannot let you do that. A candidate in Lugunica's royal selection should not be in Valencia with how things are now. I know it might be dangerous, but what? I want to be the one who finds Subaru before anyone else, though I don't know why. Not understanding why she felt that so strongly, Emilia's speech faltered at the end. Yet, the moment he heard that, Otto's mouth opened wide in shock. Garfield patted Otto's shoulder violently from behind. You heard her, Otto bro. We've got no choice but to do our best. I always knew it was a bad idea to make a plan I know will make me suffer. Otto held his head, his face paling at the thought of the upcoming hardships. Sorry, Emilia told him, putting her hands together. But even if she apologized, she was not going to take her words back. Of course, Betty approves, in fact. We'll find Subaru no matter the cost, I suppose. Yes, we will. Subaru might be about to cry over there. Imagining Subaru trembling out of loneliness and fear, Emilia felt her heart heat up. Maybe she had found the method that she needed. Now all that she had to focus on was putting her utmost effort into this. I'm so good at that anyway. Once she knew what had to be done, Emilia did not dither. She was not going to stop. Thus, Emilia raised her head, motivated and ready to save her best knight from the hazards of the Empire. End.